Hi everybody! So today I'm going to be talking about my sophomore year of college experience. So I actually just filmed my freshman year of college experience video and I will post these in chronological order, so I'll link that down below for you guys to watch if you're interested. But I'm going to be talking about my sophomore year, which was definitely a really tough year for me. So going into sophomore year, my mentality was sort of, okay, my schedule seems solid, I have my friend group, my living situation seemed just ideal. I was going to have my own room this year and I was going to be living with a suite mate, which this situation was amazing. I was living with one of my very good friends. It was just like a suite situation, so we both had our own room and it was kind of connected by a small hallway, and then we had our own private bathroom, which was an upgrade from freshman year because we did not have our own private bathroom. And I think this just helped stress levels a lot because having my own room, I was just able to refresh myself and just give myself alone time to kind of recharge, which is super important for me because while I'm extroverted, I'm also introverted and I really need that time for myself. So that part of sophomore year was amazing. Wouldn't change it for the world. My room was really spacious as well. It was just perfect situation. One thing that was kind of hard for this first semester friends-wise was two of my really good friends were not there for the fall semester. One was traveling abroad and one was away for training for the Air Force, and she was not there for the whole semester. And these were two of my really good friends from my freshman year dorm, and they are part of like kind of my core group of friends, and this was really difficult for me to be away from them, and it was just a really different dynamic with our friend group, and it was just definitely an adjustment, but they were back in the spring, so that was great. So I am a marketing major, and for my sophomore year I actually picked up a graphic design minor, and this is something that one of my sister's friends did and really enjoyed it, and I thought this would be perfect because I'm really into the creative side of marketing, but I'm also really into visuals and just designing and things like that, so I thought this would be a great fit for me. News for ya, it was awful. I really did not thrive with this minor. I really struggled with it. While it was something that I kind of enjoyed to do in my free time, the classes, at least at my school, were just really, it was just not a good fit for me. My fall semester, my class load was really difficult. I can't remember exactly the classes I was taking, but for me it was difficult. I was taking like economics at the time, accounting, I think I was taking calculus, and just some tough courses in there that I was really needing to devote a lot of time to. And in addition to that, my minor was kicking my butt. So this graphic design, what the issue was for me, we actually did a lot more hands-on compared to digitally on the computer with different programs. We actually did a lot, and I had to buy a lot of supplies for it, so first of all I had to invest in that, which was kind of frustrating because like books you can kind of sell back and supplies you sort of can, but you're kind of like using it up. So it was just a whole situation. I learned a lot from it, and all the people that I met from the minor are really great. They were really supportive and just fun people to be around, but honestly it just was not a good fit for me, especially at the time. So I actually dropped this minor after only having it one semester. With this minor it was, I believe, like 18 extra credits, and I took some summer classes after my sophomore year, so I would, like when planning all of this out, I was going to still graduate on time, but I would have to take, pretty much full credit hours, like the rest of my semesters of college. So that was also kind of a downfall, so it ended up really just making me more at ease because I really don't thrive on 18 credits. I don't think I've ever taken 18 credits. I'm more of like 16 and under gal just because that works for me and my brain and personality, and I really have to study a lot to get the grades that I want and kind of push extra than some, so it just ended up working that the minor didn't end up working, but honestly maybe at different schools it would be a good fit for other people. I learned about Photoshop in high school, but I also learned more about Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator in this class, so it was a good experience, and I really tried my best. You best believe I was going to office hours like every single week, which honestly I did that some freshman year but a ton sophomore year, and this is something that I would recommend so much to any student. A lot of people kind of have this perception of office hours that, oh, you're gonna go and they're just not really gonna care because you're in this big lecture and they don't even know who you are. Well, honey, let me tell you, you go in those office hours, you be kind, you introduce yourself, and you kind of state why you're there. Maybe you're telling them like, hi, I'm Lindy, I really struggle with math, so I just kind of wanted to come in here at the very beginning, kind of ask for some tips on how I can be successful in your course, and in the following weeks, maybe you're coming there for help with the actual coursework. Maybe you're coming in to celebrate a good grade or to figure out why this bad grade occurred and how you can make it better for the next exam, quiz, paper, whatever it is. So office hours, honestly, would highly recommend. Another thing that I struggled with a lot my sophomore year was being homesick. So this is something that I was super surprised about because my freshman year I honestly wasn't very homesick, and I think part of that was because coming from high school I was so excited to just like be my own person, find that group of friends, like be in a space that I really loved. And so sophomore year, while I had all of that, I think also like being in my room and being more vulnerable to like feeling my emotions and not being like, oh, like, is someone gonna see me crying? Like, I was just on my own. And my sweet mate, honestly, she was so supportive because I would come back from classes from my minor and just be like, why does she hate everything I make after having a critique? Like, my sweet mate would just hug me and be so supportive, so I'm so thankful for her for that. You know, still having your friends and family support you is so important, but side note, I got sidetracked. Well, honestly, I was homesick and I struggled with that. Yeah, it was definitely an adjustment, but I just made more calls to home and made a solid effort to keep in touch and just make sure that I was still living my life at school and still enjoying each moment there as well. So my spring semester, things definitely started to get better for me. So I purposefully scheduled my spring semester. I think I had 15 credits in the fall, but in the spring I had like 13 or 12 because I knew I needed a break. I was a little burnt out from school. I was honestly second guessing if school was right for me. I really didn't know if college was right for me because I was struggling so hard in my classes fall semester, and I ended up still really persevering and doing pretty well for how much I had a hard time. So my second semester courses were definitely a little bit lighter. I still had some difficult classes in there, but it was just a lot lighter, and I just knew that it would give me more of a peace of mind to give myself a little bit of leeway there. So throughout all of my sophomore year, I was just really conscious of setting goals for myself, really like setting goals for each month. So I don't know if you guys have seen my bullet journal video, but each month I really tried to make 5 goals for the month, and I usually try to split that up into different categories, usually fitness, school if it's applicable at the time, and my faith, and maybe social life. So I kind of try and like split it up into categories and make sure that I'm getting different aspects of my life in there to just kind of keep myself accountable. But I think that really helped me sophomore year because even if I wasn't reaching a like academic goal. Maybe I was really thriving with my social life or with fitness or something else. So it helped me to not feel so isolated and make me feel less of like a failure at school. Because sometimes I really did feel like a failure in school, and I've always had a hard time with school. I've always had to work really, really hard for my grades, and I think that that just kind of like was, my fall semester was really just like beating me down some. So I think that that really helps to be able to see that you're thriving in other areas, even if it's not completely thriving in school at that moment, because it's not that it wasn't my effort. You know, my effort was top notch and I was really busting my butt to get the grades that I was getting, but sometimes your effort doesn't always show in your grades. So something else about my sophomore year is that I was really growing in my faith, and I think part of this had to do with my mental health. So my freshman year, I really didn't have a whole lot of, I definitely had some stress, but I felt like my mental health was really strong. And my sophomore year was the first time kind of in my life that I was dealing with some mental health things that I was just trying to navigate through. And so while I'm not diagnosed or anything like that, I was definitely having anxieties about school, about life. It was a big struggle for me, and I also was just dealing with some major sadness I just felt like I was constantly getting rejected from my classes and just constantly like, you know, studying so hard for a test and then not getting the grade that I wanted, and a grade that was not the best. And that was really, really tough for me. But I actually started going to therapy at the end of my fall semester. And this is something that I still use as a tool to this day. And I'd love to do a full video on this because it honestly helped my mental health so much. But taking it back to growing in my faith, I think that I realized that I really was not trusting in God's plan, and for me, that's something that I believe in, and it was just really setting me back. And I think that I was kind of in this space of feeling like, why is this happening? Why am I kind of not at the happiest point in my life? Why are all of these things happening? I was just like really confused and kind of bitter about it, and I just was really struggling with how to move on with all of these things. It was just a lot. So my second semester I started going to Bible study more, and I actually started to just really be more conscious of doing my devotional every night, which really helped me, and just to be praying more and things like that. And I'd love to do a whole video on my faith and growing in my faith as well. Another thing that I wanted to talk about with my sophomore year is my sorority. So it was kind of hard for me my freshman year. Like, I had my fam, like my big, all those people in my life that were really, really great. And my sophomore year, I started becoming more close with other girls and kind of forming more of a group, which was just made me feel a lot more comfortable and excited about going to events and things like that. It was just really great. But I actually ran for a position in the fall, and I got it. It was for the sisterhood chair position. So that kind of entails planning events and kind of more like bonding things for sisters. And so I ended up getting the position, but we have a GPA requirement, and my fall GPA did not meet the requirements, and so I ended up not even really being able to start the position. I found out, I think January when we went back to school, that I actually had lost the position, and I was no longer able to serve as a sisterhood chair. And this was something that I really put my heart and soul into. I was so passionate about it, so excited about it. And I think the time of elections for getting this position as well played a huge part into it, because it was kind of almost the end of fall semester, I was just telling myself I'm almost done, and this was something that was finally positive in my life. And it was just something that I felt I would be able to balance well with school, especially with my spring schedule, and I was just so excited to start. And I had never been involved in high school or done any sort of leadership roles at all, and so this was something that I was so excited about, and to lose that was really difficult at the time. And now I kind of see spring was really a good time for me to focus more on me, because I am a giving person and I really like to give to my friends and family and be there for people, and I really wanted to do that with my sorority, my chapter, and I was unable to do that. But honestly, in the end, God wanted my spring semester to be for me, because he knew that I struggled so much in the fall, and he knew that I still really wasn't completely recovered from that. I still needed some time to just give myself some affirmation and just some closure on that. But that was something that was really difficult, and my friends were there for me a lot, which was great. And I can't imagine that time, that whole, it's just sophomore year in general, without having that support. My family was there for me. It was just, but that was definitely something that made sophomore year a little rough for me. Something that also really helped with my mental health was keeping a steady workout schedule, and I feel like all throughout college so far that's been kind of a big thing for me to release stress and to gain more energy from. So I've really kept that up for those reasons, and I also just feel better when I feel strong and when I feel healthy. So I honestly really tried to keep a good workout schedule, and it was fairly good in the fall, but honestly in the spring, when I had a little bit more time to myself, that was something that I also really focused on and really got me in just a better position in life. And I don't want this video to scare you guys. Not everyone's sophomore year is kind of rough. I was always joking around like it was my sophomore slumps year, because it was difficult, and it was kind of in some ways like a slap in the face, because I was so looking forward to this year, and I was in such a let's go, I got my friends, we're ready to go kind of mentality, and it did not turn out to be like that. But honestly, it was still a really, really good year, and I had a ton of fun with my friends. It just showed me how I want to be there for my friends when they're going through certain things, and I am. But it just really made me feel good in the inside to know that these are my people and they're here for me when I'm going through some tough things, and I'm not always this smiley and a happy Lynn, because life happens and things get in the way and life isn't always perfect. So it was just a really good learning experience, and I think honestly bonding for my friends and I, because I think it's vulnerable when you're crying on their shoulder and just not feeling 100% yourself, and you're feeling down and you're feeling whatever you're feeling. So I just think that sophomore year was a huge learning experience for me, and while it was really tough, I'm so grateful for it, because it's given me a lot of really good tactics and things that I've been carrying on, such as therapy, my devotionals, and keeping a strong workout schedule, because I know that's great for me and my body and my mental health. So yeah, I just think that sophomore year was much needed in my life to kind of just give me a little gentle push in life. And yeah, those are kind of the main things that I wanted to talk about for my sophomore year. But again, if you guys have any questions or comments or maybe your experiences from your sophomore year, let me know it down in the comment section. And please subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on those notifications. And that is it for this video. Stay tuned for my junior year video. Thanks for watching. Bye!